Hello. Today we're getting into yet another Zombie Survivors because the game just had an update, which is a great thing for an early access game that just came out. Good to see the developers keeping up with it. I wrote down some talking points because it seemed like there was a lot when I went through the patch notes. So I'm going to get into Run and just kind of try and talk about everything that I thought was like a major improvement. Well, everything that I noticed going through the patch notes. So the medic got a lot of buffs. I have my damage numbers off right now. Maybe I can turn those on for the sake of the video. There we are. So her base weapon, all her weapons, got a damage buff, and her higher tier weapons got everything from interval between attacks reduced by like half, a damage increase, and a damage over time increase. This ability, Stim Pack, her level 3 unlock, it got a fix where it's now correctly applying the 25% instead of a 0.25%. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be focusing her weapons since she's my first character and I want to get her tier 2 and her tier 3 weapons out. They fixed one of the things that I noticed was whenever I went to banish an item that I wouldn't have the option to choose anything else during that level up. So now when you banish something, you get an option to choose something else during that level up, so that's huge. Now banish actually is like way better. That's like a huge improvement. Her health regeneration ability, this was a healing of 2 per second, now it's a healing of 5 per second. So that's a huge buff. And items such as medkit that used to give 2 healing a second also got buffed to heal 5 a second. Other items that granted healing over time or armor also got buffed. The tank, instead of granting additional base health, he now grants additional armor as his passive. So if you choose him as his team leader, it's one amount, or if you pick him up onto your team, it'll be like half that or whatever. So her handgun now feels like meaningful and impactful instead of it showcasing that she was in fact a support character and not as much of a combat character. Since I'm close to this item box, I'll pick it up and then I'll head down and grab the other character down there. When you go into your skill tree, you can now refund just 1 point of something instead of resetting your whole skill tree. So if you want to make small adjustments, that's now a little bit easier. I think the SWAT might have been the only character to not get balance adjustments. Oh, Stone Skin, they reduced the time of that buff to 5 seconds from 8 seconds. And if you notice that this was a little bit faster, you'd be correct, because they anything on any map objective, I guess you could call them, the SOS signal or the item boxes, they have the same time to pick them up. Both of these characters got a little bit of rework. I'll take the Huntress. They reworked base critical damage. I have the skill tree points in this, so that's why it's 200, but at a base it's now 150. So whenever you get critical chance, any of your crits at a base will be doing plus 50% damage. So any of her abilities that have the anti-undead serum in them, the syringe gun or the flask, any damage source that a zombie dies from, that while it has the syringe effect on it, or the anti-undead serum effect on it, it'll now explode from any damage source. It doesn't have to die directly from the medic giving them the last hit. So the medic just got so much more powerful with that buff. Like you're seeing all this going on the screen. Like, this is a huge improvement. Like a major buff. It's amazing. They mentioned that they increased the Huntress's accuracy. I guess moving around, she's picking one target and picking another target. All this swiveling back and forth between one another. I guess she would be missing a lot. So they increased her accuracy, so that probably just means that she turns like instantly now instead of having a little bit of a animation or a little bit of a swing between one and the next. Let me look at my notes real fast. Oh, freeze. The slow of freeze, which both medic and huntress can apply with their weapons. That's now been buffed to a 75% slow from a 50% slow. So that's major. But since I'm going to have to choose between the anti-infected serum and the freezing for my medic, I'm gonna be going with the anti-zombie serum flask for her tier 3 weapon. And then the huntress, so her freeze bow got a buff because of the freeze, now applying a 75% slow, and her explosive arrows, those now, both of the huntresses, tier 3 weapons have a faster fire rate. They buffed this to give not just it, I guess it was reading as plus 50, but now I don't know if it actually was. I never really picked it up before. They changed this. So the Huntress's level 3 weapons have a faster fire rate, and the explosive arrows detonate after 3/4 of a second instead of after a full second. So the Huntress got tons of buffs from her slow to her explosive arrows. Other characters, I'm not gonna be able to pick up every character in this run that got some kind of a change, because it was like a lot of them. So the engineer, the electric turret cooldown is now halved. So at a base, instead of you improving the cooldown over all your level ups of the ability, it now just at a base has a 15-second cooldown, and leveling it up will increase its range. So I think that's huge. I think, because I didn't really think much of the electrical turret before, but now I'm thinking it's going to be really good. So yeah, they just put out all kinds of buffs this with this patch that they just put out. Eagle Eye and Critical Protocol of the Ghost abilities now give increased critical damage. So this ability used to just, as a passive, increase your critical chance by 4%, but along with nerfing the base critical chance or critical damage to 150, they also added on to the Huntress's ability and to the Ghost's ability additional critical damage. So now, if you want to get that 250 or 300% critical damage, you're going to have to build it on your characters and not just in your passive team level bonuses. Looking at my notes down here. Oh, the Ghost's Kunai. The ability where he would throw the little daggers in like every clock position. He would throw like 12 daggers out in every direction around him. That has now half the cooldown that it used to. Which is big. I remember looking at my damage charts at the end of a run, and I was like, oh, so this really didn't do much for me. Like, I think that was on one of the videos that I made, and I was like, oh, it looks like the tank saw blade drone did as much as Kunai and Shuriken together. So now with the Kunai buff, with it going off twice as often, the numbers should look a lot better on it. So here's Antidote Flask. This got a huge buff, like I said a second ago. She'll be throwing them twice as often. They'll do more base damage, and it'll tick for more damage. And any damage source that causes one of these enemies to go down will cause them to explode. Oh, and those exploding enemies, I guess their radius was reduced by like 10% or something. They must have been getting complaints about them or something. I thought they were fine, but I guess they reduced it by 10%, so that's cool. Oh, and I mentioned that I can't remember if I mentioned that the tank's passive now gives plus armor instead of plus base health. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that earlier. But along with that, his Minefield ability now has a cooldown of 20 seconds instead of 30 seconds. So I'm thinking that leveling it up should still give like additional mines, additional damage, but it'll be going out more often. And so that should be pretty meaningful too. And there is this one ability that I guess was hard for a lot of people to get. I don't have it yet. Something about testing the ragdoll physics, and so they nerfed the requirements for that achievement. So if you're playing with explosive weapons, it'll be easier to get an achievement for testing the ragdoll physics. So those are the talking points that I wrote down, and here in the game, just looking at, just like practically looking at everything that all these zombies exploding from the anti-infected serum, like it is a huge and very noticeable difference. Like the medic feels like a super strong character now, like maybe the strongest. I don't know about the strongest, like balance in this game seems to be make everything overpowered and then it'll be balanced because everything's overpowered, which is great. That's what you want from a survivor-like game. You want to be just mowing down hordes of enemies. Feels great. So yeah, the medic now feels definitely super powerful instead of feeling like, why would I pick her up? So yeah, I'm definitely enjoying this patch, and with the game still being fairly early on in development, I'm excited about the game, where it might go. As someone who has had a habit of keeping up with early access games and such, I know that a lot of games die in development, and so there's games that I don't keep up with anymore because, like, you know, the devs just stopped updating them, and they never, some of them got to the point where they felt like a full finished game, but some of them didn't. So, I mean, you never know what the future holds. I think, I tried looking into why some of them, you know, just stopped getting updated, and you know, there was things like, oh, the developer got sick and they were the only one working on the game, it was their passion project, and so with them being sick, like, you know, what can you do? So that sucks, you know, more for them than for anyone who's keeping up with their game. Like, but yeah, you don't really know what the future holds, but at the present, this game's looking good. And yeah, here this endless run is looking like really good with all these characters with all their buffs, with everything that the game's got to offer. So I think they said in the patch notes a few other things about these arrows are now, they're supposed to be more prominent, and when you're at low health and your screen's like flashing red, it'll be layered on top of the red, so it should just always be easier to see. Yeah. So if you're watching this video because you're interested in the game, it's a good time to pick it up. To support the developers as they finish developing their early access game. And if you already have this game and you've been playing it before the update and now the updates happen, you can let me know what you think in the comments. And feel free to let me know what other early access games you're keeping up with, which ones you're excited about, which ones you were disappointed to see not get further developer support. You know, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on any of that. So I still need to get the Huntress's Tier 3 weapon. Oh, here we are. I haven't picked this up yet. I need to showcase that too. So yeah, I'd love to see how big the range on that gets, because with the tank's bombing strike ability, the range on that gets huge. With the Huntress's arrow ability, you know, that area gets pretty big too. So I'm interested to see how big of an area the electrical turret can get. Yeah, the range gets like, I don't know what these units are, but even getting, see, so this is what it's always looked like, and then I'm hoping that it'll just cover like half the screen if I'm standing next to it. Like, it'll just be like this whole thing. So yeah, that cooldown buff feels meaningful. And then I guess because I have points in my ability tree in ability cooldown, with putting down a turret for 15 seconds every 15 seconds, now just at a baseline with those points in ability cooldown, I just have 2 of them up half the time, and 1 of them up the rest of the time. One thing that I like about this game, that I think I pointed out the last time I made a video on Yet Another Zombie Survivors, is these dots at the edge of the screen that point you in the direction of any health pickups or magnet that exist on the screen. They don't point you in the direction of money. I guess money is considered like these experience gems. Like, it's not worth pointing out where it is on the screen. But the little dots at the edge of the screen, they seem to have gotten made to be a little bit more visible. Yeah, range plus a half. Damage and duration. Oh wow, I'm gonna have just 2 of these out all the time if I level this up. That'll be great. Yeah, that electric turret ability now feels like a really strong choice instead of like something I want to avoid as long as I can. So yeah, I said there's... And I don't have the Huntress's Tier 3 weapon yet. I still need to get that. But it's just, there's so many options that I need to get through. That's why I chose to do the endless run on this one instead of just a normal run, because I didn't want to be forced to stop at 20 minutes if I made it that far. And it's looking like, with all the buffs that everything got, I'll probably make it that far. Watching my health tick up like that, it's great with all the healing buffs. I think I've only put 1 or 2 points into the medic's healing passive, so even with just 1 point in it, it's great seeing that it's that strong. Alright, let's grab a level up over here and see what we can get. I won't even have a point in that at all. I think the laser got buffed too, or something changed about it. It said something about it shows DPS instead of damage. I think that was more of a I don't know if the ability itself changed. I think just how it reads when you look at it on the screen, how that changed. Okay. Yep, still feeling really good. The endless mode scales up a lot faster than the normal mode. And as much as I've played this game, I haven't actually tried hardcore yet. I guess I kind of meant to, I just never did. I don't know. Yeah, so that's another one of the achievements that I don't have yet. So I need to do that sooner or later. I wonder, I mean, there's an easy way to figure it out, but as someone who hasn't played it yet, I wonder if it's scaling up as fast as the endless mode is, but you only play for 20 minutes, or if it scales up even faster than endless mode. So, I mean, there's a really, really easy way to figure that out, and that's to actually just play hardcore mode, but I just haven't done that yet. And back when I tried to get that explosive achievement, testing the ragdoll physics, whatever it was that I was supposed to get, I wasn't able to quite get there, so that's... There might be one other achievement that I don't have unlocked in this game yet, but and then whenever they add more maps or more characters, I'm sure that there will be more achievements in the game associated with those. So yeah, I've been finding this game really fun, getting through all the meta progression, leveling up all the characters. Well, I mean, I haven't gotten through all the meta progression. I still have things in the skill tree that I haven't unlocked or leveled up, however you say. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling that the medic got like just a bunch of huge buffs, and now I'm going to be really more keen on grabbing the medic for my team instead of just kind of... Oh, this got a buff too. More keen on grabbing the medic for my team instead of just kind of like seeing her as like, I'm going to be having 2 survivors on my team and then 1 additional passive slot or something. Like, her passives were alright. But it didn't feel like she was doing much damage to the zombies, but now with all these buffs, it feels like she's like really meaningfully contributing to taking down all the zombies that are on the screen. Can't really see what the poison is, or the anti-zombie serum is ticking. The damage over time effect on the enemies. It's hard to see how much that's doing, even with my damage numbers showing. I guess I should have been trying to pay attention to that earlier, but I wasn't. Is Is that a bug? Is it already fully leveled up and it's offering me another level up? That's odd. I'm gonna click it just to kind of see. Oh, it shows all... Oh, that's right, they added this. Your base weapons show how much ammo they have left and their reload time. Before it would just show all your abilities, their cooldown time and such. Now it shows it for your weapons too. I'm taking a lot of damage over here because I'm not paying attention to what's going on the screen. I should probably wander over towards some of those health pickups, grab that magnet. Yeah, so everything's scaling up still. The enemies scale up. You'll see it in red text at like the top middle of the screen. The enemy horde level is increased. And they do more damage, they move faster, have more health. So eventually you'll run out of upgrades to get. You won't be able to outscale the enemies anymore. But you should always take a bit of time. I love how much CC the engineer brings to the team. He's always been like one of the best. And then ability cooldowns on top of that is his as his passive. It's great. I'm gonna head over towards this level up in this item, see what I can get. Yeah, it's great that you don't have to stand on top of those for 2 seconds now, that you can... Okay, it's level 5. Normally when you're not mousing over them, when it won't show that 5th dot, I'm wondering... Okay, let me see, what else do I have? I have this at 3, so if I ever upgrade the... electric dome, force field, whatever it's called, to level 4, I'll have to pay attention on my next upgrade. Like, I'll just have to remember, oh, I got this to 4, and then just, like, pay a lot of attention on my next upgrade. What happens when I'm getting into 5. This has happened twice this run, and I don't remember ever seeing it happen before. Alright, let's take down this Juggernaut before he causes some real problems for us. Oof, I got hit by some huge amount of damage there. So come up here and grab this level up. Oh, and if you get to the point in your run where you have all available level ups, yeah, I'll take freezing arrows. So her fire rate, oh yeah, that feels like a whole lot lower of a fire rate. That's great, that's great. Oh, and that's slow? Wow, yeah, that's a noticeable difference. Full health. Back up to full health again. So yeah, these enemies have been scaling up for 20 minutes on endless mode, which is a little bit faster than normal mode. And still the 75% slow feels huge and meaningful, even though they're zooming around. I think I had 3 electric turrets up there for a quick second. Because leveling up, getting the cooldown, or the additional duration on my level ups, and then the skill tree cooldown. I'm pretty sure that for a moment I'll have 3. Yep. For the briefest of moments, there are 3 on the screen. I should level up my healing passive because I'm just pretty consistently taking damage. Yeah, everything's just way too fast. And that's the run. So, this video will be a decent length. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it useful, and if you get or have and are playing the game, I hope you're enjoying it. Have a good rest of your day, or don't. Either way, no pressure.